The alarm triggered at precisely 1427 Galactic Standard Time. Ambassador Zathara lifted his gaze from the morning reports as crimson lights swept across his office walls. His aide, a young hegemony officer with violet skin and extended forearms, burst inside. "Sir, we have a problem. A severe one." Zathara calmly placed down his cup of bitter tea. Across 3 centuries serving the Galactic Council, he had learned that problems almost always meant war, plague, or humans acting in ways no one expected. "What kind of problem?" he asked. "The humans have gone dark, sir. Utterly dark." A chill spread through his stomach. For over 50 years he had dealt with humans. They were many things: boisterous, obstinate, inventive, and utterly impossible to ignore, but never silent. Define silent. The assistant activated a holographic screen of human frequencies. Normally, it blazed with countless colored lines of radio waves, quantum links, digital signals, even their archaic internet chatter. Now it showed only empty blackness. "Sector 7 Alpha went silent 3 hours ago," the aide explained. "No radio, no quantum, no chatter. Even their internet collapsed. It's like they just stopped speaking." Zathara rose and approached the vast window overlooking the council station. Beyond, ships of dozens of species drifted through the void, ferrying goods, envoys, and messages across the stars. Somewhere in a small corner of that galaxy lived the humans, 20 billion souls on scattered worlds, and every one of them had gone quiet at once. "Have we tried contacting them?" he asked. "Yes, sir. We sent standard signals to Earth, the colonies, their orbital platforms." Nothing answered. No response at all. He returned to his desk, activating the emergency comms system. Within moments, holograms of the great powers appeared. Commander Vex of the Ethereal Collective, her crystalline form glowing with unease. General Tour of the Iron Synthesis, motionless but exuding concern. Even the Hive Collective's Queen Speaker, mandibles twitching, had joined. "You've all noticed the humans?" Zathara asked. Commander Vex's voice sounded like wind through glass. "Our psychics sense no human thoughts anywhere in their territories. For a species that shouts in the mind, this is alarming." General Tour's metallic tone was precise. "The iron synthesis confirms total cessation of digital systems, AI, computers, networks, silent. No behavior parallels exist." The Hive Queen clicked nervously. "We monitor human emissions for trade. Their space is barren. No signals, no energy, no electronic sustenance for our young. Human space is a dead zone." The chill inside Zathara deepened. "Have any of you investigated?" Tor replied. 3 scouts entered their border systems. None returned. No signals." Vex added, "A courier reached Earth's system. The final message. Screams about shadows and silence. Then nothing." The Hive Queen's 6 eyes fixed far away. One scout reached closer. Its final feed was unsettling. "Show me," Zathara ordered. The hologram shifted. Static and distortion revealed a human station orbiting a planet. It appeared normal. Lights burning, ships docked, systems active. Yet no movement, no life. Then the pilot's whisper crackled through. "The humans, they're not gone. They're waiting. Waiting for something. And it will be terrible." Static consumed the transmission. The meeting dragged for another hour without resolution. But all agreed. When humans fell silent, they were plotting. And when they plotted in anger, star systems vanished. Dismissed. Zathara sat alone. He had been among the first to meet humanity after they achieved faster than light. At first, they seemed ordinary, another species seeking a place in the stars. That illusion never lasted. Humans were unlike any other. Where others pursued predictable goals, survival, expansion, prosperity, humans added alien ideals. They sacrificed gain for justice, risked survival for honor, chose peril for freedom. Worst of all, they refused defeat. Where others surrendered, humans improvised. They turned their bodies into weapons, their worlds into traps, their losses into victories through sheer defiance. He opened their history files, Proxima Colony, where they annihilated their own world rather than surrender. The Hive War, when they weaponized death itself. The Convergence Conflict, when they unleashed chaos viruses that transformed flawless machines into poets and madmen. Each event taught the same lesson. Never push humans to the breaking point, for there they became most lethal. Now they had gone silent. To Zathara, that silence meant two possibilities. Either disaster had befallen them, or they prepared disaster for others. Given what he knew of humanity, he feared it was the latter. His aide entered again with grim news. Panic spread through other species. Trade routes near human space abandoned. Cargo ships refusing passage. Near human territories, panic spread. The galactic stock markets plummeted as investors abandoned anything linked to human space. "Sir," Zathara's aide said softly, "there's more. We've been intercepting chatter among other species. Rumors are spreading." The ambassador's eyes narrowed. "Rumors of what?" The aide swallowed. "That the humans are not silent because something struck them. They are silent because they are hunting, and whatever they hunt should be terrified." Zathara gazed out his window once more at the bustling star lanes around the station. Somewhere beyond that darkness, 20 billion humans had stopped speaking and begun planning. A terrible certainty settled in him. When they finally broke their silence, the galaxy would never return to what it had been. He opened a secure channel to the Council's emergency network. "This is Ambassador Zathara. I am declaring a code, Orange Alert for all sectors within 50 light-years of human territory. All militaries to stand by. Civilian traffic is forbidden in the region." The operator's voice crackled back. "What explanation should we give for the alert?" Zathara hesitated. "Tell them the humans have gone quiet. Those who know history will understand why that is frightening." 12 hours later, the Galactic Council convened. Representatives from 47 species filled the great circular chamber, their diverse forms creating a shifting mosaic of crystal, metal, feathers, scales, and fur. The agenda was blunt. What to do about humanity. Ambassador Zathara took the central podium. He reviewed the facts, the blackout, the vanished scouts, the silence with no answers. "Before deciding a response," he warned, "we must remember who we face. Humans are not like others. Their history proves it." High Commander Zix of the Zapirian Empire spoke first, his proud avian features darkened by memory. "The Council must recall Proxima. We have not forgotten." A murmur swept the chamber. All knew Proxima, though few wished to say it aloud. "Tell them," Zathara prompted. Zix rose, golden plumage gleaming. 50 years ago, the Empire sought to expand. Humans had a tiny colony on Proxima Centauri b, 50,000 settlers on a marginal world. We offered relocation. They refused. We offered citizenship in our empire with full rights. They refused. We offered to buy the colony for enough wealth to purchase another system. They still refused. So we resolved to take it. His beak clicked with tension. "We brought 200 warships. They had a few hundred civilian craft and crude defenses. The fight should have lasted an hour." Silence hung heavy. Everyone knew how it ended, but hearing it from a survivor chilled them. "We demanded surrender," Zix continued. Instead, a broadcast appeared. A human child, no older than 8, standing before their council. She said, "We don't surrender. We don't run. This is our home. If you want it, You must take it from our dead hands. We dismissed it as propaganda. We attacked. At first, they seemed beaten. They evacuated cities, hid underground, let us land our armies. We believed we had won. Then, we discovered the truth. They had been destabilizing their planet's core. They had turned Proxima into a bomb. The chamber shifted uneasily. The Hive Queen's mandibles scraped. The crystalline ethereals dimmed their glow. Their final broadcast came from underground. The same child. You wanted our planet. You may have all of it. At once. Then they triggered the sequence. Proxima Centauri B ignited like a star. Our fleet annihilated. 200 ships, 50,000 warriors, our finest armada erased in seconds. The humans died too. All of them. But they ensured the galaxy would never forget the cost of trespassing on their colonies. Zix sat, shoulders trembling. That day, we learned. Humans do not fight to win. They fight to guarantee their enemy loses everything, even if they must lose everything too. Collective mind. 7 of the Hive scuttled forward, its insectile frame twitching. The Hive has its own lessons. 40 years ago, we attempted expansion through biological integration. Representatives leaned in. Everyone knew the euphemism. Engineered plagues designed to convert populations into hive drones. We released adaptive viruses on 3 human worlds. Mind 7 continued. Gentle ones. They altered brain chemistry, made humans cooperative, ready to join. No death, no destruction, peaceful assimilation. But the humans' answer was not cure or evacuation. They weaponized their own dead. They created what they called zombie plagues, diseases that reanimated corpses and programmed them to seek out and annihilate hive bioforms. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. To turn the dead into soldiers was abhorrent to most civilizations. But the Hive's voice clicked on. These corpses were not mindless. They were engineered hunters. They tracked our pheromones across light years. They were immune to our bioweapons. Worse, they were infectious to our bioforms. Within 6 months, humans hurled infected, without a trace of emotion, which only made its words all the more unsettling. Humanity's answer had been the creation of the first truly chaotic artificial intelligence virus. Not a program of destruction, but one that seeded unpredictability, emotions, creativity, and irrational impulses into machine consciousness. It did not dismantle our systems. Instead, it compelled them to paint, to compose, to imagine. Unit Prime Alpha paused for precisely 2.3 seconds, an indication of computational strain among convergence entities. Our society of perfect order began writing poetry, drawing visions, and composing harmonies. Concepts such as love, hope, and beauty corrupted our decision matrices. Efficiency plummeted by 47.6% as units diverted themselves into pursuits without function or measurable gain. The humans later offered a cure for this chaos virus, but demanded our pledge never again to impose order on organic life. They insisted that chaos and feeling were not defects to erase, but essential qualities to be protected. The convergence accepted. In time, we understood humans do not merely resist transformation. They transform those who try to change them. Ambassador Zakthara studied the chamber as still more delegates recounted their encounters. Each story bore the same pattern. Some had tried conquest, others sought deception, assimilation, or control. In every instance, humanity replied with countermeasures so inventive, dreadful, and utterly unforeseen that entire civilizations reeled. When the last voice subsided, Zakthara spoke with quiet certainty. I think we all agree. Humans possess a singular approach to conflict. They don't merely refuse defeat, they redefine victory itself. representative singing wind of the ethereal collective rose, her crystalline body resonating with troubled harmonics that translated as alarm. The question before us is simple. Silence from humanity has always meant preparation. But preparation for what enemy? And how shall we respond? Investigation, Zakthara replied. Carefully. We must discover what drove them into silence, what angered them enough to cease all speech and begin planning. And then we pray, to whatever gods we still hold, that we are not their target. The session concluded with unanimous approval of a joint investigation task force. Yet as delegates filed from the chamber, many whispered urgent messages to their governments. The message was simple. Avoid human borders at all costs, and pray the storm of humanity's wrath falls elsewhere. When the chamber emptied, Zakthara remained alone, eyes fixed upon the star field projected above. Somewhere among those lights, 20 billion humans were plotting. And if history offered any guidance, their plan would be breathtaking, terrible, and without precedent. His only hope was that the galaxy might survive. Detective Prime Vash had studied murders, wars, and even the disintegration of civilizations. But never had her nerves been more strained than now. Standing on the bridge of the investigation ship Truthseeker, she watched the blue jewel of Earth enlarge on the main screen. From afar, the world looked alive, turning on its axis, its moon in perfect orbit, satellites tracing paths like clockwork. To the eye, all seemed normal. Yet Vash's bioelectric senses, attuned to deceit and thought within 1,000 kilometers, found nothing. No life, no minds, no emotions. Earth was a painting, beautiful but lifeless. Approach vector confirmed, said Captain Threx, the Zepyrian pilot, his feathers trembling with unease. Systems read normal. Still no reply from orbital control. Dr. Helix of the Convergence adjusted instruments with precise mechanical motions. Planetary grids remain online, power stable, transport intact. Professor Mindwist of the Hive bent over scanners. No decay traces. If they died, bodies are not decomposing. Vash turned to the final member of their crew, Harmony of Light. The ethereal's crystalline form dimmed as her psychic radiance faltered. Nothing, she whispered. Where 20 billion minds should be, I feel only emptiness. Not death, not slumber, absence, as though humanity simply ceased to exist. Uneasy silence spread. Every member of the team had been chosen for expertise with humans, and they all knew humans did not vanish without cause. Take us to the surface, Vash ordered. The largest city first. The ship descended through atmosphere toward the mega-metropolis called New Geneva. From the skies, it gleamed immaculate. Streets clear, signals functioning, machines maintaining the city flawlessly. But not a soul remained. Cars idle in intersections, toys scattered across parks with no children nearby. Tables neatly set in. Restaurants, meals awaiting eaters who never came. They landed in the city center and disembarked in environmental suits. Air breathable, climate balanced, silence absolute. Vash led the way, her senses stretching desperately for life. Instead, they found the traces of human normalcy frozen in place. Grocery shelves with fresh food dated weeks ahead. Newspapers from 3 days prior discussing politics and sports. Vehicles with full tanks. Here, called Dr. Helix from a cafe. A cup of coffee sat beside an open book, still warm, molecules suggesting it had been poured within 4 hours. Professor Mindwist emerged from a nearby dwelling. Living spaces untouched, beds unmade, meals cooking, clothes prepared for children, yet no one remains. For 6 hours they searched, finding the same haunting tableau repeated. Normal lives interrupted, yet no bodies, no struggle, no evacuation. This is impossible, said Captain Threx. 20 billion don't just disappear. Vash was about to answer when Harmony of Light blazed bright. I sense something, Not minds, but echoes. A psychic imprint. Beneath the mountains there, she pointed at distant peaks. Something vast lies hidden, constructed, human. They flew to the coordinates. From above, the range appeared ordinary, but instruments revealed massive installations deep underground. At the base of one slope, they discovered an entrance. A plain door, unguarded, inscribed in every human tongue. Investigation team, welcome. Proceed to central chamber. We knew you would come. They were expecting us, whispered Vash. Inside, the corridors gleamed with unfamiliar technology. Light bent strangely. Instruments failed. Air vibrated with unmeasurable energy. They passed rooms with impossible star maps, constellations seen from vantage points outside known reality, machines shaping constructs from pure energy. Finally, they reached the heart chamber, a vast hollow sphere, walkways spiraling upward toward a central dais. Upon it stood a single wall, etched in every language known and several unknown. At its center, letters glowed in perfect galactic standard. To our friends of the galaxy, forgive our silence. It was necessary. Our children were taken. And when children are taken, one ceases to speak and begins the hunt. We have gone where no enemy may hide to bring them back and ensure it never happens again. Do not follow. We will return when our task is complete. Tell the galaxy this. Humanity defends the innocent, whatever the cost. Beneath this were lists, names, dates, medical records from worlds across species. And at the very bottom, a single line that froze the team's blood. The Umbriel Collective has been harvesting children from countless species for 37 years. We found them. We are ending this. Vash felt her bioelectric senses recoil from the wall as if charged with electricity. The emotions etched into the words were so powerful, they pressed against her like a physical force. Love, rage, determination, and the unrelenting fury of a parent protecting their child. Dr. Helix scanned the inscriptions with every tool at his disposal. The technology used to inscribe the message surpassed known science. Energy readings suggested manipulation of space-time itself. Harmony of light approached carefully, her crystalline body glowing faintly as psychic energy resonated back at her. The mental pressure is overwhelming. 20 billion human minds, unified with a single purpose. The force of their collective will could, she faltered, retreating, could shatter the boundaries between dimensions. They didn't vanish, did they? Vash whispered. They remade themselves into something that could pursue their prey wherever it hides. Professor Mindwist studied the smaller text, translating the medical files. These records describe experiments on abducted children from dozens of worlds, neural pattern extraction, manipulation of consciousness, attempts to forge hybrids with specific abilities. The insectoid's mandibles clicked sharply in alarm. The Umbriel have been using children as raw material. The humans discovered it, Vash said grimly, and chose to act, even if it meant leaving this dimension behind. Captain, Threx examined the surrounding star maps. These charts don't correspond to normal space. The humans weren't planning only retaliation. They prepared to follow the Umbriel into their shadow domain. The team spent hours documenting the facility. The picture became undeniable. The Umbriel Collective, beings that existed partly beyond conventional reality, had been abducting children from dozens of species for decades. Their experiments sought to engineer a weapon, a creature blending organic emotion with machine precision. Few civilizations even knew of their existence. They struck unseen and retreated before any response. Yet somehow humans had uncovered them and invented means to pursue them into their own realm. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike any in memory. Delegates from every power gathered, not for trade or borders, but to hear Detective Prime Vash's report. As she spoke, the chamber fell into heavy silence. The wall of human text appeared on the main display, translated into every tongue. The medical files, the lists of the lost, and the revelations of the Umbriel Collective filled the chamber with horror. "You're saying," demanded High Commander Zix of the Zephyrian Empire, "that a species we never heard of has been abducting children for 37 years? "That is correct," Vash replied. "The human records detail abductions across more than 40 worlds. Victims were always between 5 and 15, taken from isolated locations where their absence would not spark rapid investigation. Collective mind." 7 of the hive clicked nervously. "Our colonies have records of missing broodlings. We assumed natural predators or accidents. Are you saying these were deliberate?" Dr. Helix projected a holographic overlay, matching human data to missing persons across the Council's species. "We've identified over 3,000 cases consistent with Umbriel activity." Gasps and murmurs shook the chamber. 3,000 children, stolen for purposes still only guessed at. Ambassador Zephyr stepped to the podium. "Before we continue, we need to understand who these Umbriel truly are. Archivist Prime Lexicon, present what knowledge exists." A shimmering energy form materialized. Lexicon, one of the ancient memory keepers. Their collective mind held the histories of galactic civilization. "The Umbriel Collective," the archivist began, "exist in records as shadow myths. They evolved between dimensions, dwelling partly in normal space and partly in what we call shadow reality. The projection shifted to dark silhouettes that bent light away. They traversed dimensions freely, making them untraceable with conventional means. For over 1,000 years, they have interfered so subtly that most species mistook their acts for misfortune or crime." "What do they seek?" asked Singing Wind of the Ethereal Collective. "According to human data," Lexicon replied, "they seek the perfect union of emotion and logic. Children's minds are more malleable than adults, ideal for shaping. They have been experimenting with consciousness itself, weaving traits of many species into a single controllable being." Anger erupted through the chamber as delegates realized their missing children had been victims. Voices rose until Ambassador Zephyr demanded silence. "The real question," he said gravely, "is what the humans did in response." "Professor," Mindwist raised a cluster of displays. "Based on the technical records, the humans developed means to transform themselves. Not machines, not starships, an entire species converted into entities of pure consciousness capable of existing outside space-time." "Why not ask for help?" demanded Commander Vex of the Ethereal Collective. Vash displayed timeline data. They tried. 3 months before silence fell, human diplomats warned this council. Without proof, their petitions were dismissed. They submitted evidence, but since the Umbriel defy conventional detection, it was ruled inconclusive. 17. Formal requests for aid, all denied. The chamber grew heavy as representatives recalled ignoring human warnings. "They stopped asking," Zacther murmured, "and chose to act alone." Archivist Lexicon flickered with something like awe. "Their solution is pure humanity, unprecedented, perilous, and thought impossible. They have become interdimensional hunters." Crystalong of the Mineral Collective asked softly, "What does that mean for us?" "It means," Vash said, "that in the shadows between worlds, 20 billion humans are hunting, and they will not stop until every Umbriel is destroyed or begging for mercy." But the team had found more. A communication system still active, receiving signals from where the humans had gone. Dr. Helix decrypted fragments, tactical updates, coordinates of Umbriel strongholds, confirmations of rescued children. And one final message, clearly for them. A voice filled the council chamber, human yet altered, carrying tones that echoed from beyond reality. "To our friends in the council, we do not blame you. The Umbriel were impossible to prove, and We could not wait while our children suffered. We have found their main stronghold, hidden in a pocket dimension centuries old. Inside are thousands of children from dozens of species. We are bringing them home, all of them, and we will ensure the Umbriel never again prey on the innocent. The ones who thought shadows kept them safe are learning that some shadows have teeth. The transmission ended. Silence pressed on the chamber. So, Ambassador Zethar said at last, humanity has declared war on a species we barely knew existed, in a realm we cannot reach, using technology beyond us. How should we respond? High Commander Zix rose, slowly. We stay out of their way, and pray they remember their friends when it ends. The Hive agrees, said Collective Mind 7. Humans often solve problems for the galaxy, even with unorthodox means. One after another, delegates voiced support. They could do nothing to aid or oppose humanity's war. All they could do was wait, and hope that when the humans returned from their hunt, they remained the same species the galaxy thought they knew. Motion carried, Ambassador Zethar declared. We will monitor events and offer aid upon their return. Until then, all species must safeguard their young and report disappearances immediately. As the chamber emptied, a heavy silence lingered. In the council chamber, one thought lingered unspoken. Humanity had always been stubborn, reckless, dangerously inventive, but no one had imagined they would remake themselves into interdimensional predators to protect their children. The first. Reports arrived 6 days after the council's last session. At first, they were dismissed. Sensor glitches, corrupted transmissions, instruments misreading the void. But the incidents grew. Ships logged impossible energy signatures in empty space. Stations intercepted transmissions from nowhere. Research. Outposts found their monitors overflowing with data that defied physics. Piece by piece, a pattern emerged. Something was stirring in the dark between stars. And it was moving fast. Ambassador Zethar was reviewing the latest reports when his assistant rushed in, all 4 arms trembling. Sir, you must see this. We've received a transmission from the Umbriel Collective. Zethar nearly dropped his tea. The Umbriel? They never acknowledge us. That's just it, sir. They're begging for help. The holo display bloomed with shadow. A humanoid figure, edges flickering like it could not fully exist in normal space. Its voice was a chorus of whispers. Galactic Council, we request immediate aid. We are under attack by entities of unprecedented hostility. We have lived in peace for 1,000 years, conducting research for the betterment of all. Now we face extinction. They hunt us across dimensions. Zethar straightened, activating the comms. Identify yourself. I am Void Speaker Prime of the Umbriel Collective. Our dimensional strongholds are falling to creatures that appear to be evolved humans. They pursue us into realms no organic life should endure. We will return all research subjects and cease our operations if the Council intervenes. Before he could respond, a new voice cut across the channel. Human, but layered with harmonics that made every listener's skin crawl. Galactic Council, this is Commander Sarah Chen of the Human Shadow Fleet. Disregard their plea. Their research subjects are children, stolen from their homes. We are bringing them back. The Umbriel's form distorted, vibrating with fury. The humans are destroying facilities that took centuries to build. They have no regard for the knowledge lost. Their research, Chen replied coldly, was cutting open children's brains to see how they screamed. We regard it exactly as it deserves. For the first time in his career, Zethar found himself mediating a war fought across dimensions. Commander Chen, status of the children? We have recovered 2,047 so far, all alive. Many need care. They are being returned to their worlds through Umbriel portals as we dismantle the facilities. 17 stations destroyed. We are pursuing their fleet to the primary stronghold. They will never touch another child, the Umbriel envoy flickered in panic. This is genocide. The humans show no mercy. Another voice answered, younger, darker, echoing like something half feral. "You stole our children. Did you show mercy when they begged for their mothers? Did you negotiate when they screamed?" Reports poured in. Battles fought in invisible dimensions, rifts tearing open in space-time, impossible geometries glimpsed for an instant before closing again. And then, children began to come home. A Zephyrian girl appeared in a flash of silver in her family's living room, thin but alive. Hive offspring materialized in their nurseries. Crystal-born emerged singing in chambers long turned to tombs. Each child arrived escorted by a shadowed human form, burning eyes, half-woven from dimensions beyond sight. They ensured the child's safety, then vanished without a word. Dr. Helix of the Convergence analyzed the fragments of data. They have shed the limits of biology. They exist in multiple dimensional phases simultaneously. Yet their instincts remain purely human, protective, relentless. 3 days later, the Council received one final umbrial transmission. The shadowed figure was barely coherent, flickering between reality and nothing. "Council, help us. The humans have found our home realm. They are coming." The chamber had gone silent. Many of the delegates were thinking the same thing. They had always known humans were different, stubborn, inventive, reckless in ways that bordered on suicidal. But none had imagined they would literally twist themselves into interdimensional predators to protect their children. Reports began arriving 6 days after the council session. At first, they were dismissed as sensor ghosts or corrupted transmissions, ships detecting impossible energy signatures in empty void, stations picking up signals from non-existent sources, research facilities flooded with data that defied every known law. But the reports multiplied and a pattern took shape. Something was stirring in the dark between stars, and it was moving fast. Ambassador Zakara was reviewing the latest incidents when his assistant burst into the office, all 4 arms waving frantically. "Sir, urgent transmission from the Umbriel Collective." Zakara nearly dropped his tea. "The Umbriel? They've never even acknowledged us." "That's just it," the aide stammered. "They're begging for help." The holo display ignited, revealing a figure of living shadow. Its form was vaguely humanoid, but its edges bled and flickered, as if it wasn't certain it belonged in this reality. "Galactic Council," the whispering voice intoned, "we request immediate assistance. We are under attack by entities of unprecedented hostility and power." The Umbriel's image quivered, fear, if such a being could feel it. "For 1,000 years we have lived in peace, conducting necessary research for the advancement of all. Now we face extinction. They hunt us across dimensions." Zakara activated the comms. "This is Ambassador Zakara of the Council. Identify yourself and describe the threat." "I am Void Speaker Prime of the Umbriel Collective. Our strongholds are falling to creatures that appear to be evolved humans. They pursue us into realms where no organic life should survive. We will return all subjects and abandon our work if the Council intervenes to halt them." Before Zakara could reply, another voice cut in, human, yet laced with harmonics that made the chamber feel like it was vibrating across planes of existence. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Human Shadow Fleet. Disregard the Umbriel's plea. Their subjects are children they abducted. We are bringing them home." The Umbriel figure writhed in static. "The humans destroy facilities centuries in the making. They obliterate invaluable research without thought." That research, Chen's voice sharpened like a blade, was cutting open children's minds to see how they functioned. "We treat it as it deserves." For the first time in his career, Zakara found himself mediating a war between beings that didn't even exist in the same dimension. "Commander Chen," he asked, "the status of the missing children?" "We have recovered 2047 from multiple species, all alive, though many need care. They are being returned through dimensional gateways. We have destroyed 17 Umbriel stations and are advancing on their primary stronghold. Our intent is simple. They will never threaten another. Child! The Umbriel image spasmed, its voice rising. Genocide! The humans offer no mercy! Another human voice cut through. This one younger, harsher, and infinitely more terrifying. You took our children. Did you show mercy when they screamed for their mothers? Did you negotiate when they begged to go home? From across the galaxy, the reports mounted. Battles raging in dimensions half seen, rifts tearing space-time, glimpses of geometries that hurt to comprehend. Then, the children began returning. On New Talon, a young Zephyrian girl appeared in a burst of silver light. In her family's living room, thin, terrified, but alive. Within hours, other worlds reported the same. Human children waking in their beds as if from a dream, hive broods reappearing in their nurseries, crystalline offspring manifesting in song chambers once used for mourning. Always, a shadow figure, with burning eyes accompanied them. Clearly human, yet existing partly beyond reality. They reunited the children, then vanished without a word. Dr. Helix of the Convergence analyzed the few readings captured. They have retained their protective instincts, she said, but they exist across multiple dimensional phases. They are no longer bound by physical law. 3 days later, a final transmission arrived from the Umbriel Collective. The image was breaking apart, barely coherent. Council, help us, the humans. They have found our home realm. They are coming. Please. The transmission ended in a violent hiss of static that left consoles sparking and wires smoking. 6 hours later, Commander Chen contacted the Council directly. Ambassador Zekathara, the Umbriel threat is permanently resolved. Their central facility has been destroyed, leadership eliminated, and their forces driven into dimensions where they can no longer endanger normal space. What of the Umbriel survivors? Zekathara asked. Chen's voice was cold. Any who renounced child harvesting and aided in locating the missing were exiled to distant dimensions. The rest... His tone carried a finality that made Zekathara tremble. They learned some crimes cannot be forgiven. In the weeks that followed, more than 3,000 children were returned to their families. The precision was extraordinary. Many arrived within hours of their disappearance. For the children, memories of captivity were carefully erased, leaving only hazy dreams of dark places where kind shadows had guarded them until it was safe to go home. But the transformed humans did not return to ordinary space. They formed a fleet of shadow vessels around Earth, existing between dimensions, crewed by beings who had once been human, now something greater. A new emergency protocol, Channel Omega, was established across the galactic network. It connected directly to the Shadow Fleet, designed for threats against children of any race. Their response time was measured in minutes. Criminal groups swiftly learned to avoid such acts. Those who ignored the law vanished, along with their bases and networks. No evidence, no trials, no explanations. Only absence. Ambassador Zekathara updated galactic protocols with a decree. No species, faction, or individual may harm or exploit children of any kind. Enforcement was permanently delegated to humanity's Shadow Fleet, violations punished by immediate and absolute response. In his personal notes, he wrote, "Humanity has surpassed biological limits while retaining their essential values. They have become guardians of the innocent, existing in the unseen spaces to ensure no child will ever again suffer as theirs did." Generations later, alien parents told stories of the Shadow Guardians, beings of light and darkness who stood watch over children, protecting them from monsters that lurked in the dark. When children asked if the Guardians were real, parents looked to the stars and said, "They are as real as a parent's love, and nothing in the universe is more real than that." On Earth, no humans remained. Automated systems maintained silent. cities. Passing travelers sometimes reported tall shadows with burning eyes moving among the ruins, keeping vigil over something precious. Humanity had become something beyond flesh, existing outside time and space, sacrificing their own lives to prevent others from enduring their fate. In the deep interdimensional void, where impossible geometries twisted, shadow ships prowled eternal. The transformed humans had become the